What is going on, my fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks.
I do have a media recommendation.
I love Lord of the Rings. Superheroes, movies, a little jack of all trades, I guess.
So what makes me a geek?
Bum ba dum bum bum bum. What is going on, my fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks, your weekly pop culture podcast from Central Michigan Life, where we discuss all things geek culture, which is like high culture, but better. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you follow the CM Life Instagram and Twitter pages for updates on the podcast, and to look for us wherever you find your podcasts, including YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our website at www.cm-life.com. My name is Brendan Valentine, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me and my fellow co-host this week, who will introduce themselves in a second with our question of the week. So this week's question we pulled from our Twitter DMs, and it is, if you could have a TV show or movie made about any superhero comic book character that hasn't been on the screen yet, who would it be and why? So, Isaac or Hope, would either of you like to start?
I can start. Hello, Isaac Hunter here. Pleasure to be here. There's a lot of really cool DC heroes and villains, just characters in general that we haven't seen yet. Or we have, but they haven't really been the focus. I really like, there's a hero called Spectre. He's a DC hero with like a green cape and like white skin, and normally he's like, go ahead.
He's technically been on the screen.
Okay, but I want one that's just focused on him. There's been a lot of different, but
also, the true incarnation of the Spectre, or the one that I would think of, has not been on the screen.
Yeah,
so I'll give you that.
And basically, he's, I don't want to say the Ghost Rider of DC, but he kind of is. He's the spirit of vengeance. But I don't know. I just always kind of liked the comics with him, because he was always like watching everyone else do things and like subtly changing things. But then he's actually like super powerful. He's basically a dead man, that, not to be confused with the superhero Dead Man from DC, who's also a character that I think interacts with Spectre sometimes. But I don't know. I think it'd be really cool, because you could probably do like a darker tone, but also a very from the shadows kind of like perspective that's not like Batman, someone that's almost more gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hope?
Yeah. Hey everyone, Hope Gooderl. So I know that Catwoman has been on various Batman shows. It was on Gotham with Selena Kyle. Yeah. But I want, like Isaac, I want someone like just a specific movie on her. Not necessarily like an origin story, but maybe something along the lines of like Birds of Prey with Harley Quinn. No, yes. Yeah. And honestly, because like, Anne Hathaway in the last Batman movie with Christian Bale was like magnificent. I love her so much. But like, I want something that's just her, because I feel like she's such a powerful character on her own, and like she's that kind of villain, but also sometimes does the right thing and is the hero.
Yeah.
And she's not like true anti-hero either. And I'm just like, let's dive into that. But
what if I told you that there was a 2004 movie named Catwoman featuring Halle Berry as Catwoman?
Oh, I forgot about that.
But it was very cheesy, and it's rocking a whole 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. But no, I completely agree with you though. Like in like the Arkham games, like I love Catwoman. Which might be a hot take. Like I loved playing as on her missions where you play as her, because I don't know, she's so interesting. And you're like, she doesn't need to help Batman, but she does.
I liked in Arkham City how you got free reign, but then in Arkham Knight, I was a little peeved that you could only play as her inside the Riddler house.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we got like a DC theme going today because my character is also a DC character. I'd really like to see I think a TV show would lend itself better to this character, but I wouldn't be upset if they were introduced in a movie. But The Question, which is like,
Oh, yes.
if any of you have seen Into the Spider-Verse, if you kind of think like Spider-Man Noir is like a cheesier version of The Question, it's like if Spider-Man Noir like got like Batman level dark. But I'd really actually specifically like to see the Renee Montoya incarnation of The Question, who like worked for the GCPD, worked in Gotham, and then like through a series of unfortunate events acquired, the costume and the mask of The Question, and took on that mantle.
No face.
No
right?
face. Oh, I think it would look so cool as like a detective-esque TV show. But like introduced in like the sequel to Robert Pattinson's like Batman film.
Oh,
like if we got
it would fit really well into from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I think it would fit really well.
Yeah, I think The Question would fit really well into the DCEU, especially like if Renee Montoya is like, well, I'm done with Gotham, I'm moving to, I don't want to say Bloodhaven because I'd love to see a Nightwing movie or series taking place in Bloodhaven, but maybe even just like a real life city.
Nightwing.
Central City or whatever it flashes from.
If they do Nightwing, all I ask is that they get Brenton Thwaites to play Nightwing as he is doing on Titans right now, because
I don't think you'd get that crossover, but you can dream.
I feel like The Question is almost like I feel like it would fit so well into what we know about the Robert Pattinson, the Batman, that like
the vibe is the same.
If he or she is there, which I would say they'd probably also go for the Renee version.
I think the Renee Montoya
I think it would
fit
fit very well, especially with a Riddler type villain with question marks. I don't know.
I'd be down. I think that'd be really sick. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you all. This has been, I'd be very happy with both a Catwoman and a. Okay, I had it and then I blanked. Oh, I'm so bad. Isaac, help.
He's Spectre or the Spectre.
You said someone different beforehand, and I was about to say them, and I was like, nope, that's wrong.
I pulled a fast one on you.
You did pull a fast one on me because I was ready to talk about Beast Boy.
I love Beast Boy. That'd be so.
I also love Beast Boy, but we've seen Beast Boy in Titans, so
yeah.
Alrighty, so let's get things started real quick with some geek news. So I think I might start with the geek news this week. Personally, my favorite video game of all time is Injustice 2 and the Injustice franchise. And I was excited to learn, or at least I learned this a little while ago. I was excited to see an official trailer for the animated Injustice film that will be focusing on, the kind of what if type scenario of, what if the Joker was able to kill Lois Lane and then Superman went, crazy, kills the Joker and becomes a dictator. That's the premise of that. So if you haven't played the games, highly recommend the games. And then the film will be coming out soon. We do have a trailer. I believe it's coming out before the end of the month, if I'm not wrong. October 19th. So not before the end of the month, but like in about a month. So like pretty darn close. It's not something we really have to wait for. Believe it'll be available on HBO Max just like every other DC property.
I love Injustice. Gosh, such a good story.
Such a good story, such a good game. The comics are also great. So.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, normally with like platform fighters, I'm not super into like the story of it. Like,
Mortal Kombat,
I'm like, okay, like competition, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm going to just do some fatalities. But like, I played Injustice, like the first one. I played them both, but I remember playing the first one and being like so invested. And like, I didn't have the comics, but I like went on the internet and saw as much as I could find.
Dude, if you could find them in like used bookstores, highly recommend.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. I'll go next. I know we're trying to keep geek news to a minimum, but I have two things. One, which is I think was released today, is that they are remaking Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for PS5. Which
PS5 or just next gen consoles?
I think it's PS5. Yeah, exclusive to PlayStation 5. I know. It's not
so
fair.
Excited. His dreams were dashed. How dare you?
This way you can get the Spider-Man skins.
Why do people keep releasing the console exclusive games on the inferior next gen console? I'm coming out and saying it. Sony, Microsoft has you in the console department. PlayStation 5 is inferior to the Xbox.
Although if you sponsor us, we'll be free to change
Oh yes,
Brendan's
we will
opinion.
happily change our minds if you send us something, either in the mail, whether it's a couple slips of paper or a electronic box that will play the game that we are talking about.
My second big news is that Build-A-Bear Workshop has released a Lord of the Rings line of plush toys.
No way!
Yes.
I saw that.
So far it's pretty. I mean, they're really it's
basic.
mostly just Frodo and Gandalf and their costumes and stuff for bears. But they also did release an exclusive online 7-inch Gollum figurine, which I don't know how they managed to make Gollum cute, but they did because it's Build-A-Bear.
Wait, are there any elvish characters that are being put into Build-A-Bear form? Because that'd be really cool too.
Like I said, so far just the Frodo stuff and Gandalf stuff.
Dang.
So here's like a hidden secret on Build-A-Bear. So at one point they had Lammy from Doc McStuffins, and she was put out to see like how people reacted and like how popular she was, and if they had it, they were going to make more. Same with Pokemon. And as you can see, Pokemon got really popular and they have continuously come out with more Pokemon. So I am going to say that if you nerds who love Lord of the Rings, not me, but y'all spend your money on Build-A-Bears, trust me, it's very easy to do. I've done it multiple times.
I will go to Build-A-Bear Workshop for the first time in my life to buy a Gandalf Build-A-Bear.
You've never been to Build-A-Bear?
No, I preferred Webkins as my stuffed animal of choice as a child, and then now I really like Squishmallows. So I guess I should probably stop talking about all the things I like, so they'll actually start sponsoring me. But I guess this is your one freebie. I really like Squishmallows.
Yeah, Brendan would happily shop at Build-A-Bear if you become our sponsor.
I used to never shop at Build-A-Bear. Now
I've never bought from Build-A-Bear, but I've walked in and I've looked around, and then I said, okay. And then I
left. So you're one of the people that brings our counts down on everything of like, oh, well, you didn't have people spend. No, a really stupid expensive system of like, they are expensive. I will admit
for
that. Like
good quality teddy bears.
Yeah, like the cheapest bear is $12, and the most expensive is $35, and that's not including all of the accessories or the stuff you can put inside it. That's not the squishy heart.
These online ones are kind of expensive.
Wait, you said the most expensive bear is $35. I didn't think that'd be that bad. But how big is the bear?
That was Chewbacca bear, so a little bit longer.
So I was thinking like that's a great deal.
The clothes cost a lot. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. It's all the clothes and accessories that honestly make it add up. But I think also Bulbasaur was $35, but he also like emptied our machines of all the stuffing because he was huge, like this way and this way. And I was like, dude.
I thought you said, I thought for $35, like you thought I was getting a full size Wookiee, like Chewbacca one, like 7-8 feet tall, but nah.
He's just slightly bigger than an average bear.
Oh well,
smarter than
your average bear. Alrighty, Hope. What's your geek news for the week?
All right, so I had 3, and then I was allowed to add another thing. But so first up, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, the canceled show, is becoming a holiday movie, and it's coming out Christmas, I believe, or like around Christmas time. So it's gonna be like a Christmas movie. Shang-Chi smashed Labor Day records with $90 million, which is the second highest grossing film of the pandemic, the first being Black Widow, which surprises me with all the stuff with Disney on that. The Apple TV show C with Jason Momoa has become...
Dave Bautista.
Yes, and Dave. I didn't realize Dave Bautista was in. I just
He's
know
in it
Jason
this season.
Oh, okay. But it is now Apple TV's most watched returning drama series after a strong season 2 start. So
Nice.
I said, I'm kind of like thinking about getting Apple TV.
I think I technically have Apple TV, so I should give it a shot.
Yeah, I think I technically do too, but I think I have it like turned off for now, so it doesn't charge me. But
I think I have it because I have Apple Music,
that makes sense.
and they come as a bundle.
Yeah. All right. And my final thing. So when I was trying to think of the one actor's name last week with SAS Black Swan, it was Sam, I think it's Hogan. He's Scottish, so I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name correctly. But he had come out with a line of whiskey that at first was not available in the US. It is now available for purchase. Their limited batch whiskey is available in the US. It's called Spirit of Home. And it's apparently like critics and consumers agree it's pure gold. So if you're a whiskey fan and you're a fan of Sam Hogan from Outlander or SAS Black Swan, go check out his line of whiskey.
Sounds good. I will drink it, take a sip, and go, this tastes like every other whiskey, just like I do with every other whiskey.
Really
That's not
warms
true.
your heart.
Oh, absolutely. And the back of my throat.
He's Scottish, so like he should know something about whiskey, right?
Do you know a fun fact about whiskey?
Oh, there's a fun fact about whiskey?
Yes. Do you know how sometimes it's spelled with an E and sometimes there is not an E?
I did not know that. Like at the beginning of the word?
At like WHISKEY. And then this one, if you look at his whiskey, it's WHISKY. It's because if the whiskey is from a country that has an E in the name, it has an E in the name whiskey. But then Scotland doesn't have an E in it. So it doesn't, like Irish whiskey has an E, American whiskey has an E.
What? Why does Irish whiskey have an E? They don't have an
Ireland.
Oh, Ireland. Okay. Yep. I'm like Irish. No, thanks.
Yeah.
Been a long week.
That's what I learned,
learned something
when
today.
I worked at the country club. That was a little fun fact. Canada whiskey doesn't have an E.
Nice. Good to know.
There's your geek news.
There's your geek news. We're all talking about our alcohols this week. I guess all of us on the podcast can legally drink, so it's not problematic at all. So we're good.
Yeah, now that you're not a baby anymore, Brendan.
Baby Brendan.
Aren't you guys both like 3 years older than me?
Sure.
Yeah. But, that's 3 more years that we've been fully legal, so.
No, that's what I'm saying is like, because for those of you who don't remember from last week, Hope, Isaac, and I have never actually like hung out in person. Like this is the only time that you guys are like hearing us speak to each other is the majority of the time that we speak. So
not including texting about the episodes.
Yeah, texting about the episodes, the
and
5 to 10 minutes.
Sending memes and news.
Yes, and like the 5 to 10 minutes before and after we start recording. But so the whole time I just, assumed that, Hope and Isaac were very, like quite similar to me, but no, I always assumed we were the same age, took similar classes, things like that. Nope, we're not the same age.
We're all unique individuals.
We are all unique individuals. Absolutely. Speaking of unique individuals, this summer marked DC's most fantastic movie to date, The Suicide Squad, which is full of unique individuals. But this movie and this past year in general really begs the question, is DC making good movies now?
Well, okay, so like the one thing with The Suicide Squad is, wasn't it directed by James Gunn, who did Guardians?
Yes.
So like they figured out some of Disney and Marvel's secrets of like, hey, if we use that guy, maybe we can like bump it up some levels. Like,
well, when you give creative control to someone who's like, because the DCEU started like this was kind of Zack Snyder's project, and his style is pretty dark. And when you're competing with the MCU, you need to add some comedy, something like light and color, like what they tried to do with the original Justice League movie. But you're coming in from the studio's direction of we're trying to compete with the MCU, with the director's direction of I'm trying to make this dark, gritty superhero franchise. That just doesn't work. But I think the studio is kind of embraced by taking James Gunn on. Like, we're kind of gonna let our directors do their thing,
Mhm.
and I think it definitely showed through the movie, because this movie is fantastic. It's probably it's in my top 10 movies of all time.
It's so good. It's so
It
good.
is so
Gosh.
good. Hope we will do our best to do a quick review without spoiling too much. Um, but so basically, if you took, I don't want to like make this comparison because it's not quite fair, but like if you liked Guardians of the Galaxy and you also like The Boys, this is a really good combination of the two, because it's like a gory R-rated anti-hero movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Heck,
it's
even mix in Rogue One in there too.
Yeah, basically, like the whole idea of this is a suicide mission. Like this is not supposed to be. These aren't supposed to be people you're supposed to end up caring about, but you do
Yeah.
anyway.
Don't get too attached, as
Don't
the
get too
tagline
attached.
of the movie.
Exactly. But no, I got very attached to a lot of these characters that I was not supposed to get attached to. So there's a lot of characters in the cast that they like kind of throw in there to like build up the roster, but there's kind of like a core, and that would be Idris Elba's Bloodsport, who's like the leader. You've got John Cena's Peacemaker, Ratcatcher 2, King Shark, Polka
Danielle
Dot Man.
Melchior.
Oh yeah, sorry,
For-
I named two actors and then stopped naming the actors. Sylvester Stallone's King Shark. Then you've got from the previous movie, Rick Flag and Harley Quinn, played by
And
Margot
also
Robbie.
Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
Yes, Jai Courtney as Captain
From the
Boomerang
last
also
movie.
makes a return,
Mhm.
but he takes kind of a backseat in this one.
I still love him though. Gosh.
Oh no,
Him.
still love him. Then you also have like
Was his
Flugelborg as
unicorn
Javelin.
in this movie?
Huh? No,
Was
his unicorn is
no,
not in this.
His unicorn was not. I know. It's all right.
What?
It's all
You'll
right.
see. You'll see.
Hey.
You'll see. There's a reason why. But yeah, like there's like a bunch of other side characters. Pete Davidson comes in as
Blackguard.
Blackguard. Flugelborg as Javelin. Mongal. Don't know the actress's name.
Gosh, I just read her name today. I was looking at it.
Sean Gunn's in there as Calendar Man and Weasel.
Oh, it's so good. Weasel's
Taika
fantastic.
Waititi's in there. Like, a lot of big names. A lot of people like who really like work well with James Gunn. Like put their hats in the ring to help out with this project, and it paid off. This movie was so good. It was like weird, like an actual DC comic is. Like the early days, like it kind of felt like a golden age comic turned into a movie. Like golden age, like that was before all the Comics Code Authority restrictions. Before comics had kind of established itself as like a weird sect of its kind of like its own genre, but also delving into every genre.
Before Marvel saved the industry, basically.
Yes, before Marvel was even existed, and DC was the dominant comics culture, which I still believe DC Golden Age comics are some of my favorite comic storylines, even though they're not super popular currently. But yeah, this was overall great story, great characters like that I really like cared about.
Yeah.
Like Ratcatcher 2 and King Shark, like they're like little
They're
bond.
so
I
good.
love that. It's so cute. Dude,
Gosh.
I didn't think I'd be like, "Aw, King Shark," like at all in this movie, but "Aw, King Shark."
Yeah. Gosh.
Nanawe.
Sorry, I just saw a thing pop up. I love because James Gunn said that he purposely took characters that were obscure that we hadn't seen on the big screen. Like Peacemaker is a character who hasn't really been in the comics for a while, but not like too long. But they go like really back. I knew about Polka Dot Man just because I played Lego Batman, and Polka Dot Man's a character in that. And he's also in I think The Brave and the Bold. But he really does take these characters and you really care about them. And he does change them a bit from their original comic accurate counterparts, but So good.
Peacemaker's like motive and update, like I really liked, because my understanding of Peacemaker from the comics is like more of like the 60s idea of like a patriot, if that makes sense, like a pro Vietnam War-esque type guy. But like this one was a little like modernized. I love it's not quite a spoiler, but like the one quote in the movie is like, I love peace. I don't care how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get it. I'm like, oh crap. Like,
wow. Man, that's a D&D paladin right there.
Oh my god, yeah. But
okay, so I have to ask though, could you actually see Peacemaker? Because he was played by John Cena, and you can't see him.
You definitely see a helmet.
You do see the helmet. No, and I love how the idea of like the villain of the movie was also played with a lot, because like, yes, there was the main villain in Starro, but like weirdly felt bad for Starro until the climax of the film.
It's also good.
Amanda Waller also was like finally that like last movie, like she was bad, but also in the end, like it's like she's technically on the good guy's side, but like multiple times in the movie you're like, damn, Waller's ruthless. And like Viola Davis cast as Amanda Waller is also like an amazing casting.
She's phenomenal. I love her so much.
She's awesome. This cast was awesome. Like not putting down the cast of the previous movie, but like they did a good job. Like I love Will Smith and everything, but like I don't know, the team dynamic, the group dynamic in the film is really, really good. And because this has like been such a success, I'm really hoping that like DC kind of takes this as a signal of like, this is kind of the stuff we like. We like you to embrace kind of like comic accuracy, but put a modern twist on it, and we'll see more films like this. Even I don't think we're gonna get a ton of rated R DC movies, just because I think they want to keep more of the mainstream titles accessible. Like we're not seeing an R-rated Shazam movie. That's mostly probably going to be for kids. Probably not putting an R rating on Aquaman 2. Kids are going to want to see that too. And there's no way we're getting an R-rated Justice League movie. We couldn't get an R-rated live action Injustice movie if we want to harken back to our geek news.
And obviously TV shows. Like, I mean, there's going to be a Peacemaker TV show coming out. It's already filmed and everything. Oh gosh, rated R. I'm not saying that it fixed it, but it did such a good job.
It gave them like the liberty to just kind of go all out with like the action scenes, the dialogue, and everything like that.
You felt the consequences like were real. Like you're not going to be like, oh, it's like, this is a big name actor playing not a well-known superhero, but a superhero. Like they're just going to get like knocked down and get back up. It's like, oh no, that person's gone forever. So
okay, good. I do have a question though, because of things I've seen on like Instagram. The relationship between Rick Flag and Harley Quinn. Did you see that as like more of a like romantic relationship, or
They're
like
friends.
him being like, no, you need this like protector, or like someone to just
they're friends that previously knew each other in comparison to all these people meeting each other for the first time. And so they were each almost like a comfort zone for the other. That
also their arcs in the movie were pretty separate.
Yeah. Also, like they did a really good job of making me care about Rick Flag.
Yes, they did. I didn't think I could care any less about Rick Flag going into this movie. And then like there's a certain scene in the movie that kind of revolves around Rick Flag, and I teared up and I was like, they made me feel this way about Rick Flag.
Rick Flag has a heart.
Oh yeah, no, that whole we can't say it, Hope, but there's this.
But you kind of saw a little bit of him having a heart in the first Suicide Squad movie.
Physically, June Moon. Is that really her name?
Yeah,
June Moon.
Best part is she's an archaeologist. Doesn't that just fit so perfect?
June Moon. I mean, she had his heart emotionally.
No, with the in the bar scene when they were like, no, I'm not sacrificing my life, and like they all went into the bar, and then he came in and was like, listen, I know y'all are like I understand where you're coming from, but that's my girl. Can we go? Can you help me save her?
That
But
I feel like
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't quite connect with it. Like it was the same idea, but I don't think I quite connected with it in theaters. With like in that scene, I was like, okay, like that seems like typical of a film. But like I don't know. This time, they focused on Flag as like a soldier and like his idea of like this is my mission and this is why I'm doing my mission, and I feel like that worked really well. Like there wasn't a serious main romantic plot in this movie.
I'm okay
This
I
is
mean, there-
Katana. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I'm okay with that because like the last one when they threw in Joker and everything, I was just like, wait, what? Like,
Oh.
just threw me off.
Harley's idea of like so Harley kind of has a relationship in this movie, but not really.
Oh,
I'm
no.
laughing because it's really funny what happens.
It's good. It's good. Hope you gotta see it. You gotta
You
see
have
it.
to see it.
Working on it.
Basically,
Okay.
she like something happens and then she gives this little like monologue about how she has to keep an eye out for red flags and murdering children is kind of a red flag. It's just really funny.
At least she knows to look for red flags
Yeah,
now.
no,
Exactly,
she's,
like, it's
she's
just, like-
really grown.
Honestly, there's like a weird amount of character development. Idris Elba's Bloodsport. I mean, you can kind of see the parallels between Will Smith's Deadshot from the last Suicide Squad movie. Like he was working on his relationship with his daughter, trying to figure that out. Bloodsport's also trying to do that. At the beginning of the movie, they have like he and his daughter have like a screaming match while she's coming to visit him in prison, which like is a really intense part of the movie, and like is his primary motivation throughout the movie, and it's interesting to see that like that's the only screen time they have together is that, but then like it's still like kind of playing out in the background, and you can tell and care about it, and I think it was really well done.
Yeah.
But also,
I do have another question because
Last
I'm fairly
question,
certain. Last question. Scott Eastwood, was he back or is his character officially dead?
Diablo.
No, that's Jay Hernandez.
Okay.
Scott Eastwood was the other soldier who blew up the area under Central Station or whatever. He was the soldier like GQ or something like that.
Scott Eastwood is not in this movie.
Okay.
Because the part about this movie really in comparison is the last one was like an American based, like they were trying to save America from an immediate threat, whereas this one is a lot more like really small team sent out to a foreign land, and so
it was like a Black Ops mission.
It's a lot of just like the characters of the team and Amanda Waller. You don't really see any government, I mean like military personnel, like American military personnel besides the
I feel like this is pretty like standard setup, like exposition, but it takes place in Corto Maltese, which is a pretty, it's fictional island, but used quite often in DC Comics. In the past, it's been used as like the place for the League of Assassins, a place where like villains have like trained apprentices and things like that. It's always like a hostile foreign military type thing, but yeah, the movie was really, really good. But the thing was, this wasn't the only like thing DC released in 2021 so far. The other two major things that we want to talk about are Wonder Woman 1984 and Zack Snyder's, the Snyder cut of the Justice League. So I hope and I have both seen Wonder Woman 1984. And Hope, what did you think of it?
I absolutely loved it. Honestly, like there was a couple parts that like there was one towards the end and like at the beginning when Steve comes back where like my dad and I were just super confused. But then like the end one, like I got confused because they didn't fully explain it and I don't want to spoil it for Isaac. But so like I loved that and I'm blanking on his name even though I know it. But the Mandalorian was
Pedro Pascal.
Thank you. Pedro Pascal was basically the villain, kind of. And like I know he's done other movies where it's been the villain, but like
The Equalizer.
see that. Yeah.
No, he played a really good Maxwell Lord.
Yeah. he was really good with that. And then I also liked is it Kristen Wiig was
As Cheetah, yes. Kristen Wiig was Cheetah. Pedro Pascal was Maxwell Lord.
Excellent. I loved how like they portrayed her, and especially like her relationship with Diana and like how like that all transpired and was like
her relationship as a person to Diana Prince as a person, not Wonder Woman to Cheetah. Like there was this whole like subplot of that. I really appreciated that as well.
Yeah, because it was especially like, hey, this person who like you think has had this amazing life because of just how she looks, because you're judging her, even though you hate it when people judge you based on looks. But she sees you and she's, you know, accepting of who you are and is like, no, you're a really good person. And I love being around you. And then she like forgets about that until she redeems herself. But I really liked the subplot of that, of like digging into the whole Wonder Woman, Diana Prince thing of her outliving everyone that she's known and just like trying to figure out how she fits into the world now and like what she can do to fit into the world and continue on. I also like the credit scene with Asteria because she was the principal in Sky High.
Oh, okay. And she was also Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter, who's the original Wonder Woman.
Yeah, my dad had a crush on her.
But like I remember in Sky High, there's the line at the end of the movie where she's walking out of the detention room and she's like, "I'm not Wonder Woman, you know." And I remember my dad like bursting out laughing and me not knowing that she was originally Wonder Woman and him telling me, yeah, she played Wonder Woman like another movie. I was like, oh, okay. So then when she came back in and like made her comments and stuff, like I was just like, I like that. Like that was like perfect.
I thought that was so funny. There's this whole like plot of like how Wonder Woman gets her armor and like there's this whole subplot about this like old Amazon, you know, ancient Amazon that, you know, supposedly like died protecting the Amazon so they could hide away on the island. But the whole time it's assumed she's dead, and then at the end they're like, nope, it's Linda Carter.
And that's I thought that was
it's so funny.
Perfect.
That's fanfare right there, and I love
that. Is fanfare. Real quick, going back to like Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, what I really liked is the interpretation I thought they were going to go with of Maxwell Lord was like he's just going to be a billionaire drunk on power, and it's going to be like this, you know, because like, you know, Wonder Woman is like generally like the word feminist icon doesn't seem to like be true, but like Wonder Woman is like the figurehead female superhero, and I thought this was going to be, you know, Diana, you know, taking down the patriarchy symbolized by Maxwell Lord, but he wasn't this, you know, overarching, you know, this guy that was born with privilege and power and takes advantage of people with that. It was someone born from a place of not having privilege and not having power and wanting that so bad that you abuse other people to get it.
Yeah,
which I thought was very interesting.
They also, so the other thing I liked is, as you were saying, it wasn't about her taking down like the man
systemic oppression.
Power. Yeah. Like she thought it was originally because of like how he was acting with when he like was donating the money to the museum and stuff. But I also liked that they like showed his childhood of like how he became like who he was, and like also his relationship with his son and why that was so important to him. Like you could tell that he wanted to be the good dad to his son, even though he kept getting distracted by other things. And the moment with him and his son at the end of the movie, it was very, very well done. It
was very touching.
Yeah. I was like, this is perfect.
The theme of the movie basically is like everyone is flawed, even if they aren't obviously flawed. Because like the whole thing, Kristen Wiig's Cheetah, Minerva, is, you know, seeing Diana as like this flawless person, but Diana like is processing her own like grief over Steve and, you know, living for, you know, a really long time and trying to like live through this world. And everyone else's flaws are a little more obvious, but like even at the end, Diana's is perceived that way. The thing that I liked and disliked most about the movie was it was quite a bit of a departure from the first Wonder Woman movie. Like the first Wonder Woman movie was like a war movie focusing on, Diana Prince as a warrior, which I thought was really cool, and that movie was really well done. But this one felt more like a Wonder Woman comic that was, kind of filled with this mythology and weird magic and all this stuff that isn't, the real world. And I can't say I like it better because I like both films, but I think this is a direction like closer to comic accuracy that if DC really buys into, I think like making this one their brand rather than the first Wonder Woman movie, their like brand of film. I think this one will push them in a better direction because the first Wonder Woman movie I liked better because that's the style of film I like, but I feel like if you're going to build a franchise, this is the type of movie to do it with.
Yeah. I think for me, this one was like, she was more relatable. And I think that's what drew me into this movie versus last movie. Like, I still love the original, like the first one. And I still can't get over the fact that Remus Lupin was Ares, but like,
oh, that was such a good plot twist. I was like, oh, crap. I didn't see that coming at all.
Well, see, because it was one of those, I was like, don't be him, because he was the Nazi
in the boy in the
straight pajamas. Yeah. And I was like, please don't be him. Please let him be the actual good guy again. Like, don't. And then he was Ares, and I was like, dang it. But also, like, he's so good at it, too. And I was just like, okay, I love you, and you're still amazing. Like, but I liked how because they introduced it in the traditional, this is Diana Prince learning how to be immersed with humans. And then this one was, well, she's immersed with humans now, but she's realizing her powers are keeping her the same age while everyone she knows and loves is growing old and dying. And you could see that with the pictures that they showed at like the beginning when they were going around her apartment of like, all of her old friends are no longer with her. And it was just one of those, like, they're humanizing her. And I really liked the fact that they were making her more human and more relatable, especially with how it was at the end, with how she was able to like get everyone to renounce the wishes and everything. Like, I was like, that's a really good way of like tying it all together, making sure that it's not just like, oh yeah, I have lots of powers and you should listen to me because, I know what's best for everyone. It was, no, I've made mistakes. I know my flaws now. Like, we can accept them and, see what's actually there and what's beautiful.
I thought the plot itself was a little weird, like the whole, like that premise. Sorry, we have to keep talking around it so that we're not spoiling it for Isaac. But I thought that was a little strange, especially like because we have films that happen after this and like no one ever talks about it because there wasn't like a whole memory erase thing. People should know who, like, or at least be familiar with Wonder Woman / Diana. And in Batman vs Superman, Bruce has no idea who Diana is, even though she was kind of public. So,
well, yes and no, because I know she had like in the beginning scene of the jewel thieves / like artifact thieves, where she takes out the
scene in the mall.
Yeah. And she takes out the camera. So like the only people who would know that she was there and would remember her are those people that were there. And most of them are still trying to process like what the heck is going on? Like how is she doing this?
Well, I'm just saying that she communicated using the satellite at the end the way that Maxwell Lord also did.
But I don't think I think she only did it with her voice because if you remember the screens were gold, like the lasso. So I think it was more her voice than like her image. And like, if you remember the picture of her with Steve's unit during World War II or one in the first movie, World War I in the first movie, like she was covered up. Like you couldn't really make out her face that much. And in any other picture she has, you could see her face, but also she was as Diana Prince, not as Wonder Woman.
That's
so
fair.
there's like they know that there's someone out there, but they don't know who specifically.
I
And
guess
so
I
it's
also
like,
you have to also have to remember that DC is the universe where Superman can put on a pair of glasses and a suit, and he's no longer recognizable as Superman. So that's fair.
which I going back to Sky High, they make a joke on that when Kurt Russell comes down and he's not wearing his glasses, and Caitlin, but she wasn't Caitlin at the time.
Danielle
from
Panabaker.
Flash. Yes. She was like, "Good morning, Commander," and he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." Like,
Oh, that's such a good movie.
so
Sky High is a good movie. I didn't even realize that was the cast. Like, that's a pretty
Yeah.
Kurt Russell. Everyone else has been in like another superhero property. Danielle Panabaker, Linda Carter, Kurt Russell.
I think shoot,
the guy that plays
Will.
I was gonna say Stronghold. I was gonna say the oh my gosh, what's his name? The like henchman to Royal Pain.
Oh yeah.
That guy is
Yeah.
the dean of the college in Iron Man 3. Because he's also the dean in Community, and that's why.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
on that. Yeah.
Will Stronghold was in a movie with Jackie Chan where he got sent back in time.
Journey to the
Forbidden
West
Kingdom?
or Forbidden Kingdom.
I
Yeah,
think it's Forbidden Kingdom.
that's a good one with Jet Li as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think after Wonder Woman 1984, the only other thing that was released this year, I believe I'm the only one of the three of us that's watched it, is the Snyder cut of the Justice League. And I also haven't like watched it. I've just watched like illicit clips on YouTube of all of the scenes, new ones. But like, I mean, it's not on me if they didn't take it off of YouTube. But basically, it's pretty much. I mean, it's still the Justice League movie. However, there's a lot more scenes with Cyborg in it to make you care about Cyborg. Superman is a little like treated a little bit better, especially like his resurrection, and we actually get to see Darkseid. So I think this is a similar case of Warner Brothers Studios let James Gunn take the lead in the Suicide Squad, and I think if Zack Snyder would have been able to take the lead, Justice League would have not been a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is indicative of what future projects are going to look like. But anyway, Snyder cut of Justice League, a lot darker, but also still it still has that weird like hope of optimism, or weird like essence of optimism at the end, which is nice for the team up movie. But in general, I think it's better than Justice League, and I think Justice League and the stuff before that was definitely on rocky footing. Like Man of Steel, I enjoyed, but it wasn't what I was expecting from a Superman movie. Batman vs Superman has its moments, and it's if you cut out certain scenes, it's really, really good, and if you add in certain like Easter eggs or answers to Easter eggs, it's really good. But it still just didn't quite hit its mark.
Every part with Bruce Wayne in Batman versus Superman, like 10 times more than the parts with Batman. But like when he's as Bruce Wayne, I really liked it.
Yeah, well, actually, the one scene is Batman where he's basically just doing the Arkham Knight takedowns to get Martha Kent back. I really liked that. It was like Batman doesn't kill, Batman doesn't use. I'm like, okay, well, this Batman does, and it looks really cool.
I think the one other thing I liked about Batman vs Superman is they filmed some of the first scenes in Detroit, and there's actually one of the guys that like they interview in the TV news scenes was a professor at OCC, I believe, Oakland Community College.
Oh, cool.
So it was one of those like, right in the neighborhood, and like I could have gone there, but
Well, if you want an in the neighborhood movie, go watch Need for Speed. There's a whole scene filmed in Detroit, and like they're running from cops, and to escape the city, they drive up one of the exit ramps off 94, but not the ramp, like the grass. And I'm like, I could do that in my car. not my car, but a car.
A better car than mine.
A better car than mine, not a 2002 silver Honda Accord, baby.
All terrain.
But anyway, and then you had
could do it in
Suicide
your
Squad.
car, but like the quality of your car after.
Oh yeah, no, Jenny would stop. But anyway, so then up until Justice League, it was like, okay, maybe DC doesn't have things going. But then things kind of picked up. Aquaman, like people liked Aquaman, people liked Shazam. Birds of Prey got mixed reviews, but like when you're introducing a couple characters that haven't been, on screen yet, like Huntress and Black Canary, it's a little bit difficult. I also feel like that movie gets a bit of an unfair rap just because of the toxic masculinity and comic book fandom.
I think also because people weren't sure originally when it was just Birds of Prey. Like people didn't know that it was a DC movie or anything, and they had to change the title to Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey or something like that, like Harley Quinn's Bird of Prey.
The thing is, like, Birds of Prey, like, the idea of the Birds of Prey existed before Harley Quinn, I think.
Yeah,
well, I think it did too, but I think it hasn't been like as hyped as things
Well, you
like
throw
Aquaman.
Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn in there, you're immediately going to get $100,000 more in box office revenue, at least. Or no, $100,000 way lowballing it. You're going to get another $1 million in box office revenue,
and $1 million less in paying for actors.
Yeah, there's that. But you're going to get lots more profits throwing her name on there because of how well known Margot Robbie is as an actress and how well liked her Harley Quinn is. But then now we've got some solid movies this year, and then the upcoming lineup looks absolutely fantastic with 2022 offering us The Batman, supposedly the Flash movie if it doesn't get any more delays. We have the Peacemaker series coming up, which is slated for later this year, I believe. And then we also have, I said Batman, I said that. Shazam 2 comes out in 2023. Aquaman 2 comes out in 2022. And there is, I know there's one more. This is why we have the internet. Black Adam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. All of which, like, from what I've seen, from what trailers from what actors have interviewed and talked about, all the movies look really good. I'm really excited for Robert Pattinson's The Batman. Matt Reeves looks like he's done an awesome job.
Wait, never mind. I was thinking something else.
I was gonna say I made the joke because my dad and I saw when we were watching Wonder Woman 1984. We watched all the trailers beforehand, but one of them was the Batman, and I was like, "Well, he's pale, but at least he's not sparkly."
Mm-hmm. Oh, he looks like there's that one scene where like he's Bruce Wayne, like he looks like gaunt and malnourished almost. I'm like this, like I was excited when I heard about the casting of Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne as Batman because I'm like he's gonna play an awesome Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. But this is not the Bruce Wayne I thought they were gonna do, at least from the trailers. I know when the trailer released, they'd only filmed about a third of the movie, and I think they finished filming. At this point, or at least they're close. But that
there's
I'm
also
very
a
excited.
Scene, like when he has his hair like down kind of in front of his face and he's like looking up at the camera and stuff. Like my dad's like, it doesn't look like Robert Pattinson at that time. And I'm like, that's how you know that makeup and the camera angles and Robert Pattinson are doing a good job of making it look like the character.
And then you have that one scene from the trailer where some guy's like making fun of Batman, and then he just like the scene in the trailer is like 20 seconds of just him punching a dude, and I'm like, yes, this is the Batman I signed up for. This is young and angry Batman that does not think everything through, and I'm very excited. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Oh, sorry.
I just hope that like they do like what Spider-Man Homecoming did, where they're like, okay, the origin story, so like we're just gonna skip to, he is, and I'm hoping that they do that with Batman. Like, if they want to throw something in of like, here's what his parents looked like fine, whatever. But like, I don't want to know the origin again. Like, I don't.
The opening credits will probably have a gunshot in the pearls.
Yeah.
Like you can't
That's fine.
not have that, but I don't think they're going to spend half the movie on it.
One shot.
But yeah, then I don't think we have an official trailer for it yet, but for Dwayne the Rock Johnson as Black Adam, I think that's a really good casting. And then Dr. Fate, played by Bond himself.
Yeah.
Which Bond?
I was going to say Sean Connery, but
it's not Connery.
That is not
that's
possible.
It's not.
I know.
That is not
Pierce
possible.
Brosnan.
Pierce
or...
Brosnan.
Okay.
It's Pierce Brosnan.
Rest in peace.
Playing Dr. Fate. Very
Sean
excited for
Connery.
that, and the whole like Justice Society versus Black Adam. That based on like comic book time period, like this is probably going to take place in like the 40s or 50s, and I'm really excited about that. Aquaman 2. Aquaman was really, really well received, so I'm hoping, a good follow up. And then
Other than Amber Heard, because she also can't act, but like.
But I really want a good Ezra Miller Flash movie. I know it's supposed to be Flashpoint based, and it's supposed to kind of reset the DCEU, which I'd be down for. But also, I just want Ezra Miller to have more screen time. And I wish there was a Cyborg movie slated, but there is not. Hopefully, Ray Fisher will come back. But after the way he was treated by Warner Brothers, I wouldn't blame if he didn't. But oh well, I think that's all we have to say on the topic of DC. But yeah, it looks like they're kind of getting their act together, and I'm really excited because I love DC Comics properties. But as always, here on Raving Geeks, we like to end with some recommendations for our viewers, whether that be movies, video games, comics, or really anything else geeky. Isaac or Hope, why don't you have some recommendations for us this week?
Yeah, okay, I'll go first. So this is kind of a throwback. I have two. One is a TV show, one's a movie. And I'm not sure where the movie you can watch it other than like renting it somewhere. But so first, the movie is I Am Number 4, which is also a book. It's a book series.
Book series is fantastic.
Yeah. But the movie, I have been following both the two main actors, Sam, the guy who played Sam, and then the guy who played John, for like since this movie came out. And the guy who plays Sam is Callum McAuliffe, and he's currently in The Walking Dead as Alden. So like if you like Alden, go watch I Am Number 4. If you like the movie Beastly with Alex Pettyfer, he's in I Am Number 4 as John Smith. And then the other one, and I'm going to embarrass my oldest niece because even though she doesn't watch the show because she's only 7, but Big Time Rush is on Netflix. It's been on Netflix for like at least a month. And I'm embarrassing my niece because her favorite is James. I don't know why she likes James so much, but like whatever. But Big Time Rush is awesome. The music is great. And it's just a really fun time. It was on Teen Nick for a while.
Aren't they getting back together?
Yeah, they currently have 2 shows that are all sold out in like Chicago and New York. And I'm really upset because they were sold out like that. Mm-hmm. Even though tickets were expensive. But I'm hoping that they tour like the Jonas Brothers are doing right now. That they do add more to it. They've been hanging out together, like their Instagrams are blowing up and TikToks, and it's great to see them back together because the show was honestly really good. Like it was great for just like if you need something to just like laugh at because of shenanigans, like it's great. Yeah, Isaac?
Yeah. All right. My recommendation is a show. I just started it, so technically it could be awful. But I started watching Lovecraft Country on HBO with Jonathan Masters, who was, the Kang from Loki. He's like the main guy. But basically, it's a horror kind of like drama show. It is heavily steeped in, I would say, like it deals a lot with racism back in the day because it takes place in I think like the 60s. But also there's a bit of supernatural because it's about our hero going to basically like the county where Lovecraft supposedly like came up with all those ideas, and it's like the actual like county is actually full of like supernatural Lovecraftian monsters and stuff, and so it's kind of cool.
That is cool. Lovecraft is weird.
It's a bit heavy sometimes, but it's a good show so far. They do a good job.
Awesome. Well, my quick recommendation: if you haven't gone to see Shang-Chi yet, highly recommend. Really good time in the theater. I really like the movie. It's a little cheesy at the beginning, but overall, I think it's a really, really well done picture, and just a really cool concept. I didn't quite know what to expect from it when I watched it, but then after I was like, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I say in terms of MCU rankings, which I think I'm going to start a TikTok series where I rank the MCU. If we'd like to do this as a collaboration, but I feel like our opinions differ a little bit. But I put this above Black Widow, below original Iron Man.
All right.
Around, so that's probably like eighth or ninth in the MCU, which is I think pretty good. There's a lot of good movies in the MCU, and I think this is up there. If anyone wants to help me figure out where the heck it lands on the timeline, I would appreciate it, because that end credit scene kind of throws me for a loop, because there's some characters that make some appearances that don't look like how they should if this takes place after Endgame. Spoilers, maybe.
The main actor, I can't remember his name.
Simu Liu.
Yeah, you can actually like look up stock photos, and he's in them.
He's in it. Oh, he's so. Oh, you follow him on Twitter or TikTok, whichever one you have. He's so funny.
He's awesome. I love him.
He's great. But
well, I know that apparently at one point in the movie they do karaoke to Old Town.
Yes,
Road.
Old Town Road.
And that song came out in 2019. So if you can go off the logic there, that it's at least 2019 in future.
So the first scene takes place in 1996, and his character is born shortly after that, but we don't know how shortly. He's either born
shortly. 97? Is he as old as me? No, just kidding.
I was gonna say, is he as old as us? What?
I figured this out in the movie. He's our age. I just don't know if he's my age or your age, but he's somewhere in between.
I guess the movies are, because like Endgame takes place in 2023, so
this either takes place, the earliest it can take place is 2021. So at one point it says present day. I don't know if it means current present day. So like during the blip, which I don't think it takes place during the blip, which makes me think it takes place after Endgame. So present day would be around the time of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is my guess. So before Far From Home, but after Endgame and after WandaVision, is my guess. But there's some things that I think conflict with that. So we'll see. And then my other recommendation, if I think it's on Hulu now, but The Orville. If you're a fan of like old Star Trek, it's always been on Hulu. I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Like I think it has been on Hulu, but it showed up in my Hulu recommended. And I was like, oh no, that's definitely. So
it's a good show. I watched like the first few episodes. It's a good show, and then I forgot about it. But
yeah, it's not the typical Seth MacFarlane comedy either. Like it's a little more of a dramedy, and it's more like it has the structure more of like a 50s to 60s, sci-fi sitcom rather than the modern one. It has like arcs that go through. The whole season kind of, but it's mostly like episode to episode, so it's something you can just kind of watch and have fun with. But alrighty, well, I think that's all we have for you today. Thank you all for joining us here on Raving Geeks. Oh, kitty cat! For those of you listening on audio, you should watch on video, because Hope, I'm gonna have to remove you from the. I
mean, like it's going into the background.
Yeah, well, Isaac has a cat, and Hope is wearing a ridiculous hat.
Oh.
I'm wearing the best hat. What are you talking about? This hat is the best.
Only if you're from Wisconsin. Thank you all for joining us here on Raving Geeks. Make sure you leave a comment wherever you're listening from, and give us some more questions or ideas for intro questions for at the beginning of the podcast. We love to hear from you, especially getting involved. And if anyone has any interest in providing comments for like upcoming topics or previous topics, we can start responding to those and talking to those here in the podcast. So if you want to talk to us, we will talk back. So also just in general,
We'll try to be nice.
We'll
try to be nice when we talk back.
We will be nice. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, all at Raving Geeks. And as always, I've been Brendan Valentine alongside my co-hosts.
Hope Goodero.
And I'm Isaac Hunt. Oh, I'm Isaac Hunter.
You are Isaac Hunter. Alrighty, stay geeky and have a great weeky, everyone. So long.
Bye.